Maybe I should put the video on. I mean the light. I don't want the light on. Plus, it's not necessary because I only have a message to give you. And that's all you will be getting from this. Even if I had the light on, you may see me. It's not that great to look at. So, but anyway, these are some of the subjects I'm going to talk about today. Can you see? I'll read them. I'm having weird experiences with my conscience. Is it my hair? What was the other one? Or maybe that I haven't been smoking weed for once. I've been having subtle communication with other beings whilst I'm in and out of consciousness. That's another thing. I'm going to talk about all of them. I'm going to go through all of them. Let me start with I'm having weird experiences with my consciousness. Yeah, I haven't been smoking weed lately. And that's the first time in 4 years I've been sober. And I don't like to say sober because I actually think we are not supposed to be out of the influence of marijuana. I think marijuana is the influence we're supposed to be under, personally. That's my belief. I could be wrong, and I'm happy for someone to show me why I'm wrong or to enlighten me. But until then, they are my strong beliefs. I'm not saying that's the way it is, but I'm not saying it ain't the way it is. So these experiences I've been having, like, I'm not really asleep. I'm not asleep, but my eyes are shut and I'm lying down and it's dark. So just before I go into consciousness, I'm having dreams. And I'm going back to places I've already been. And the other thing is I've been having subtle communication with other beings, meaning I would say a thought in my head and they would give me an answer. Not always a very smart answer as well, like it's a child as well as an adult. Could be, I don't know what it is. I don't know how old it is. I don't even know if it has a physical, but it has some way of communicating to me. So it's probably some kind of family member. And when I say family member, your angels are your family members. They're connected to you with all your truths, all your goods and bads. And then there's other entities that have other purposes to do with earth and heaven, conscious and unconscious. I imagine. These are educated guesses because everything is kind of parallel. Everything is parallel, meaning multiple reasoning and meaning. Like, for example, what goes up must come down and stuff like that. And size, big. We all know big is going to be a major impact. Small is going to be a small impact. That's parallel information. That relates to everything to do with big and small. Size and matter. So there's parallel things. And that's why you can have educated guesses and be correct without knowing or being there. Just simple mathematics. Right, so we've got through with the subtle communication. Now I'm thinking also, is the reason I'm having these conscious experiences might be because of my long hair, because they're saying the hair is a antenna to the universe. Now I didn't grow my hair for the reasons, even though those reasons are high priority purpose if you know what is right and correct, because what you think right and correct is um, the social norms, which are to do what we see, which is totally alien, totally unnatural, and totally no purpose for mankind. Maybe a small percentage like food and comfort and pleasure and leisure, they are definitely fundamental purposes because the experience of life is really to just enjoy. There's no conclusion or massive big words. I don't know them big words, but you know, basically it's very simple. The big words are more of an ego thing to give one self-worth and just selfish really because not always, some of it's done correct like most things, there's high rewards. But unfortunately we are in a backwards world doing things backwards, thinking it's the right way. So we have no idea of happiness or meaning of life or relationships. We're just doing what we repeating what we see, which hasn't worked, but we're acting like it is working because if we don't act that way, then we're not fitting into the social norms. The social norms is to act more um, positive than you really are, which can be also a logical step to do because basically um, what your mind believes is what is real. If you believe that you are not very, um, you have no worth, then that's what the reality will be. So yeah, that's the here situation. But the reason why I grew here is because basically I knew about the sins, the seven sins, vanity, and also there's a subtle, deeper, deeper aspect to that, meaning body conscience, meaning we're in a world of body consciousness, which is a decay to the soul and the mind, and also relations to one another, because we are now judging on how people look instead of how they actually are. And there's a lot of good looking, ugly souls. And they are moving higher up in the rat race, human race, whatever you want to call it, because of the way we think that looks are actually important. Looks, I've thought about this for a while. Looks, I mean, things look good, yeah, and there is a place for that. I mean, it's most things that work well, most things that are of good standard will usually look good because it's well put together, done correctly, and if something was done incorrectly, it would usually look not so good because it didn't make sense. So the sense of things is a good look. But to have that as your number one priority is a misunderstanding of that. It's a misunderstanding of what that is. And that's the world we're in. Christianity, the religions, they're all wrong because to be holy, to be godly, to be in tune with spirituality, one of the first steps is to have no vanity, and that means to not be body conscious. So that's the reason why I grew my hair and I grow my hair on my face because it was kind of idiotic and childlike to work really hard in pleasing the world visually to get some kind of credit, inner credit, outer credit, whatever, when it's so ungodly. That's the first thing. If it's ungodly, you shouldn't do it. If because really we all children of God, so we should be doing what He says. For not even if it's a benefit, but that doesn't matter because it is a benefit. That's just my belief. Shouldn't do it because it's a benefit, but it is a benefit. So it maybe I'm wrong in thinking that way, but I just feel like if my father says this is what I design, he's the designer, so he knows best. Yeah. Um. So that's that with the here. Next subject. Vegetarians. Vegetarians. I like vegetarians. I also like pescatarians because they've made an effort in doing the right thing. But there is some strange folks in the world, and maybe not strange, just kind of misunderstood the principles, God's principles, earth principles, mankind's principles, yeah? The universe principles, what is right. They've misunderstood that. So they have greed, which is another sin, selfishness, yeah? Because really, the reason these vegetarians are not going vegan is because they like the cheese and the eggs and the milk and the butter and whatever it is. And that is only because of self. And that's not what it's about. See, this system we're in, the way it was designed, the way it's supposed to be, the way it is to get the most benefit, is to serve unto others as you want done unto yourself all the time, regardless. Always be truthful, always do right, always speak the truth, always help, always enlightened. And the truth cannot always be enlightening, but you can try your hardest to say it in an enlightened way which doesn't offend another soul, which is you, which is your brother, which is basically all connected. That part takes years to understand, but once it's understood, then you realize no one is an enemy, no one is really bad. It's just circumstances and events that's made them what they are, and the events are happening daily, all the time as we speak, and we're going through it, and because of that, the ugliness of the world affects all of us. And sometimes when people say horrible, nasty things, it's just because of how the world has treated that person, and they're expressing how they feel, which isn't, hey, they don't have anything good to offer. And the world hasn't offered them anything good, but that's just karma as well. That's another subject. So my thoughts with the vegetarians is basically they've done something good, and I'm happy they've got to the first level. But the truth is, vegetarianism is not an ethical lifestyle because of the the effect of what they eat does onto other beings, which is the cheeses and the eggs and the milks and the rah 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 and the rare rare rare, still causes a lot of abuse. Um, what's the word? What's the word for abuse? I don't know, but abuse is, should explain. But abuse isn't a good enough word. Um, torture, yeah, torture, which is, I mean, from when they're born to they die, every day, every second. I mean, I got held in my room by two people at knife point, and they could do with me whatever they wanted because I was scared. And I know what it's like to feel like an animal for just maybe 30 minutes. But it kind of lingered for a few days because I was just traumatized and never had that experience and lack of control in my life. But I felt like an animal. But they have that from they're born to they die, and it's 3,000 animals per second. So the vegetarians, because of the way they're eating, the killing and the suffering carries on. And that isn't godly, and that isn't ethical, and that is not the right way. Now, food, I used to love junk food, burgers, cakes, crisps. I don't know more because I've gone without it so long, and I realised I could survive. My brain realised it could survive on other things, and I'm okay. I get through the day. I'm not dying. I'm not ill. Matter of fact, I feel a bit better. But the thing is, I know I was eating for pleasure. Every time I had a cake, every time I had a chocolate, every time I had a crisp, every time I had a burger, every time I had a pizza. Yeah? It's all self. Self, 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 self. And it's funny when you think of yourself, you always lose. When you just think of yourself, somehow I was killing my body with fat. Whether you like to believe it or not. Whether you're eating a burger right now, I think, what's he talking about? I'm enjoying this. It ain't killing me, it harming me. Silently it is.